Hi, folks. Welcome to another episode of Watch and Learn by the Ethics and Religious Studies Department. What we're looking at this time is pilgrimages. What is a pilgrimage? Well, a pilgrimage is a journey to a sacred place, usually as an act of religious devotion. So there are a couple of words in there that I want to draw your attention to. One is sacred. Sacred basically means holy, and the other one is devotion. Now, you can be devoted to lots of different things. You could be devoted to your family. You could be devoted to your son. You could be devoted to your wife. But what we're talking about is devotion within a religious context. Now, devotion in a religious context means profound dedication to religious beliefs, which is demonstrated by your actions. So if I was to sum that up for you, watch this. We've got a journey to a holy place, usually as an act of spiritual devotion. Okay? Now, pilgrimages are not just a Christian idea. They are practiced by religious followers from all of the major world faiths. This is an Islamic pilgrimage, hopefully one that is familiar to you by now, called Hajj, which is the fifth pillar of Islam. This is a Hindu pilgrimage. This is a Sikh pilgrimage to the Golden Temple of Amritsar. And this is a Buddhist pilgrimage. Now, there are also pilgrimages to what is known as the holy place. By that, what I'm referring to is Jerusalem. Now, Jerusalem gets a bit complicated because Jerusalem is incredibly important as a site of pilgrimage for three major world faiths, referred to as the Abrahamic faiths. So you've got pilgrimages to Jerusalem being done by Jews, Christians, and Muslims. Now, if you're wondering where Jerusalem is exactly, this is where we are, up here somewhere. And we're looking at modern-day Israel over here. And this is what the pilgrim map at that site would have looked like in 1942. Today, the map looks like this. This is a pilgrim's map, and they do it to walk in the footsteps of Jesus. So this is the route that they take here. Now, bear in mind that Christians have been doing this for hundreds and hundreds of years. And this is what it looked like in the 19th century. So this is actually what the gates of Jerusalem would have looked like. That's a 19th century painting. And the dangerous route went from here all the way down to here if you were going from Britain. And it was incredibly dangerous. You got a sea crossing there. You got a potential to be attacked by bandits on this route here. And as we know, unfortunately, from the Syrian refugee crisis at the moment, even in modern ferries, this route, a sea route, is fraught with danger as well. So dangerous. Not so much nowadays, though. But even if it is dangerous, why on earth do Christians do it? Christians do it because here's your source of authority. James says, chapter 2, verse 18, I will show you my faith by my deeds. So they believe in faith in action. They believe in putting their faith into action. But even more than that, they believe that pilgrimages represent something. They are symbolic journeys. First of all, they represent that your journey is symbolic of the fact that life is a journey to God. And the other thing that they represent is the journey that your soul takes from earth to heaven. Now, there are two that you need to be aware of, two pilgrimages, Christian pilgrimages that you need to be aware of. One is in Walsingham and one is in Tays. Now, we're dealing with Walsingham first, which is down here. It's in Norfolk, about 30 miles north of Norwich, up there. And that is what the site looks like now. But it didn't in 1061. And in 1061, something strange happened because the lady that lived there, Richel de Faverges, or if you want help with your spelling, Richeldis de Faverges, Richel de Faverges, she has a dream. And she is the widow of the Lord of the Manor of Walsingham Parva. But she has a dream, and in her dream, the Virgin Mary appears to her and takes her spirit back to Nazareth, to the site of the Annunciation, where the angel Gabriel appeared to Mary to tell her that she would be having God's baby. If you want to have a look at what Christians think that site looks like today, that is the actual site of the Annunciation, according to Christians. So she says to her, build me a replica. And that's exactly what Richel de Faverges does. But a bit later, people are beginning to realize that this is a site of religious significance. And in 1150, there is a small monastic chapel which is added on the site. And again, its popularity grows until this place is built. This is Walsingham Abbey. So this is an idea of actually how important this site is becoming until the Reformation, where there is a split in the church between Catholics and what are now known as Protestants. And in the 15th century, King Henry VIII, after turning his back on the Catholic Church, puts into place something called the dissolution of the monasteries. And basically that's a bunch of soldiers going in and knocking over tables, taking all the treasure, taking all of the land, and knocking down the monasteries. So that is the reason why there isn't much to this day. But people even despite the fact that Catholicism is actually being made outlawed by this point, are still making that pilgrimage in secret until 1829, when the Catholics were allowed to worship openly again. Now, it is also a site of Anglican as well as Catholic pilgrimage, and there is actually an Anglican shrine at Walsingham that looks like this. So it's important as a site of pilgrimage really for two symbolic reasons. Number one is, if our life does represent a journey, well, then that journey actually starts with birth. And there is no birth which is more significant than the birth of Christ. So there we have it. That's Walsingham for you. The other one is Taizé. Taizé is in France. This is where it is. It's in the Burgundy region, just over here. Now, the man that founded it was a chap called Friar Roger Schutz in 1940. Unfortunately, he's not still alive. He got assassinated by a lone gunman who was mentally deranged. But as a result of him, there is this incredibly important ecumenical monastic order that survives there to this day. Now, ecumenical what? Ecumenical is a word that's popped up before when we were looking at the Nicene Creed. The Nicene Creed was a creed that was devised by the first ecumenical council, the council of all of the churches. So that gives you a clue as to what ecumenical means. It is basically promoting unity within different Christian denominations, peace and cooperation between different Christian denominations. So monastic order refers to basically anybody that works in a monastery. So they are monks or friars. Here's one. No, that's a dog that looks like a friar. Here are the friars. These friars are the ones that work in Taizé, and these ones are the ones that don't. You can tell them apart because the ones that work in Taizé wear white. Now, the ones that work in Taizé, the friars that work in Taizé, are all from different denominations, and that fact makes the monastic order at Taizé slightly strange as a phenomenon. There are about 100 of them there, and at the very heart of the monastic order is this idea of reconciliation. Reconciliation means a resolution of conflict. Two different types of conflict. One is the conflict between Christian denominations about their beliefs, and the other one is your internal conflict as a Christian follower yourself. Now, it is also a bit strange because it is a site of pilgrimage largely for young people, and there are about 100,000 of them that make the pilgrimage each year. And the reason why they go is out of curiosity, maybe for an adventure, maybe for a holiday, as an act of devotion, as an act of pilgrimage, maybe for a historical reason, or an act of supplication. An act of supplication is basically prayer. Supplication is prayer when you are asking God for something. When they get there, they join in monastery life. They go straight to the Church of Reconciliation, and they are required to go there at set times for set prayers, at least 3 times each day. And it's a rather beautiful church. They also go there for private prayer, and they also go there to discuss the Bible in Bible discussion groups, sometimes led by the friars that don't always wear the white robes. Sometimes they're in casual gear. And also as a part of the Taizé mission, music is famous and extremely important. So there you have it, folks. There is your Pilgrimage 101.